Annie Brown. I work for the Volunteer Centre, but I'm also involved with the recovery community Patchwork.
I'm Derek Burns, and I've been involved with Patchwork from the outset, more or less.
Excellent. So, how did you get involved with Patchwork, guys?
Patchwork, I kind of seen a need for people who are in the kind of next steps recovery to have something to do, somewhere to go, somewhere where they can socialise. There was various kind of training opportunities and stuff in the town for people if they had recovered from alcohol or drugs, but sometimes people need a lot of help just to get to that stage where they can join a training programme. And I had heard from different people that, you know, sometimes that just socialising with people of, as they would say, a normal background and not an addiction background is very, very difficult.
Right.
So Patchwork was kind of set up to give people the opportunity to come together, socialise, basically have a night out,
Right,
without
okay.
a drink or drugs or anything, and that's what we did.
Excellent. And Derek?
Well, I was involved with a group, and that wasn't really going anywhere.
Right, okay.
So I got involved. Well, when I first met with a Patchwork, I had a few disagreements, and I did go missing for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I came back to Patchwork, and I've been there ever since.
Alright, okay. So how did you get in contact with Annie?
It was through Ad Action. The first meeting was at Ad Action
Right,
that
okay.
I knew about,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to it. That's how I get involved.
Right, and when was this? A couple of years ago, or?
April 2016.
2 years.
Alright, okay. So, excellent. And from there it just took off? You
took
came off, you came more often and...
I'm there every week,
Right, okay.
more or less every weekend. Missed a few weeks, but that wasn't
Aye.
through choice. I've missed it.
Right, okay. So, what actually happens? You said that there was like nights out and all that kind of stuff without drinks and alcohol. So, what is it you guys do when you come along?
We first kind of started, we sat down, everybody sat down together, and as I say, we had a few kind of initial meetings with people who are maybe involved in other groups. The groups weren't really going anywhere and they weren't getting anything from it. So we sat down and we said, what would you like to see? And we were getting responses back like, oh, we would like kind of training, we would like BBV, we would like naloxone training, all relating to drugs or that kind of life and that, all this. And I thought, no, that's not what this group is about. This group is about you getting back to normal.
Right.
You getting back to being a human being again, enjoying your life.
Aye.
So it took a wee while to get people to even think of themselves in a different light.
Yeah.
So once we did that, then we started thinking about, oh, we could do this and we could do this. So we have did competitions with yo-yos, we have did competitions with balloons.
Right.
We did crafts. Derek's very good at.
It was a fun night, Friday night,
Right, okay.
without alcohol or drugs.
Right, okay.
And without even the mention it really. I mean, if somebody wants to talk about their experiences, they can, but it's not a kind of get together where we all sit round the table and say, hi, my name's such and such and I've did this.
Aye.
And I'm now at this place. This is about come in. There's people that come that don't have an addiction background.
Right, okay.
And they really like it. We get kids along. Sometimes we like to encourage that. We get kids along. We get ex-wives along, and we get sometimes we get services along. But again, if the services come, they come as participants.
Right.
So the Bentic Centre has came along. Our alcohol and drug partnership, they've came along and spent the evening with us.
Right. So excuse my ignorance. From what I'm taking here, and I could be wrong, what seems to be happening is that people go on the sort of drug and alcohol addiction courses where, like you say, they stand up and say, I'm so-and-so and I've done whatever. And then once they sort of get to the end of that, or their end of that, there wasn't really anything that took them from there to back to normality, right? And that's where Patchwork fits in, basically to say, listen, no, you've maybe had a bit of trouble in the background, but we want to offer you something where you can just come along and interact with people and there's no stigmas involved or anything like that. It's just about what you guys want to do. Have a bit of fun, start chatting to people as well.
Gain self-confidence.
Right.
We do have training, we have a training calendar, don't we? Now again, Patchwork isn't funded just yet, and that's not strictly true. We have funding, we do have our own premises that we're about to move into, we'll
Right.
talk about that later probably. But for the 2 years prior to today, we've not had any funding, so we have to think of ideas that are free.
Right, okay.
So that was good though, because that meant we had to use the skills in the room.
Yeah.
And we had to use our resources. So that was a really good exercise, not to have funding.
Aye.
It's not a replacement for your treatment services, your GP. It's not a replacement for anything. It's to complement what's already there.
Right, okay.
And it's again, in East Ayrshire there's nothing for recovery. And it's all about the training and the stuff. As I say, we do have the training, but that's something you can move on to if you like. If you don't.
Yeah.
There's also some people who don't like the traditional kind of fellowship, kind of AACANA.
Right.
They don't get it. They don't want to go. So they can maybe come kind of straight to us. Problem being that we only meet once a week now, and it's not enough.
Right, okay. Was it more? Were you meeting more often than that?
No, we started
It's always been
once.
once a week.
It's always been
Right,
once
okay.
a week. However, we did get some participatory budgeting funding
Right, okay.
to open another day, and we did, and we opened on a Saturday for 3 months.
Right, okay.
So if we can, get the resources to open up more, it's difficult because we're all volunteers.
Right.
Some of us work, Derek volunteers somewhere else, so it is quite difficult.
Right. And I met you at the participatory. I can never
Budgeting.
say that. I like to call it the PB Awards, and that's where we first met. So I take it the funding is quite a challenge for you guys in terms of how to get funding and how to keep the funding going for what it is that you're looking to do.
I'll be honest, I don't think it is much. Funding is always a challenge for any third sector group. We're a constituted group and we have a committee. Derek's part of the committee and we have other committee members, so as is myself. Funding, the challenge with funding is finding the time to do the funding application, to be honest. So that's very much a challenge while trying to keep the group going along. But I mean the whole idea of the group is okay, right, we started, but it's really looking at me taking a back seat and then a further back seat and a further back seat, because as I had said at the start, the first time I had met everyone, was I'm not interested in doing something that's like it's Annie's group. We weren't called Patchwork at the time, we came up with that name.
Right.
And I said, this is about the people in the group, that's where the strength comes from. So it's about me trying to encourage that.
Right, so I take it that Patchwork's a very group-led organisation. It's down to like yourself, Derek, to make these decisions, and you have your committee meetings, but everyone's got a say in what goes on.
Very much so.
Excellent, right, okay. What would you say that your greatest achievements are with Patchwork? I think we talked about this just before we started recording.
Surviving 2 years without funding, I think it's a great achievement.
Yeah.
Well, without any major funding, got a couple of £1,000, but that's...
No, we got a couple of £1,000, but we could make a little money go a long way.
Yeah.
So, and as I say, each person pays £1 on a Friday night as well.
Right, okay.
So that covers the...
Not necessarily, it's...
Depending on... Aye.
Depends on the circumstances.
Depends on
If
the
you're going to go £1 or no...
Aye.
You're no excluded for the group if you ain't got
If
£1,
you
you
know
can
what
still
I mean.
come along.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because we don't want to exclude anybody, but
No,
at the
of
same
course not.
time, it's a pit. It's not to make money. It's just to put back in the pot, and that pays for the lasagna or the soup somebody's made that week, or the sandwiches or the rolls.
Aye.
And if it's my case,
Right.
it's chip rolls. Yes.
So talk me through a typical Friday night with Patchwork.
Typical Friday night would be Derek's, but you've been opening up for some time now, haven't you?
I've-
Derek's a key holder.
I've had
Right.
the keys to the YM, basically if we moved in. If we would got a set of keys for the YM.
And that's where you meet every Friday at the YMCA.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I'm doing about 4:46,
Okay.
open up, but the kettle and that one.
Oh, important stuff first.
Depending on what we're doing that night, we'll play days so much, then we'll stop halfway through and have a pie or
Some tea.
some tea,
Right.
and then just carry on for a couple of hours.
Excellent. And how long does it? What time do you usually finish up at?
We, s-
8,
we say 6 to 8, but when did we get out there on Friday?
10 to 9. Goodness sake, that you'll be one.
I know they were wanting extra rent. We'll bleep that out.
So sometimes, as I say, it's not about coming and telling your story to everybody. Nobody asks where you're from, what you've done, but it is about, there is people there, and Derek's like that. Derek's one of them as well. Who, if you've got somebody you want to talk to,
Aye.
then there's people there you can talk to as well. And we do see, the kind of peer mentoring thing naturally helps.
Yeah, of course.
So that's something we would like to really grow
Right.
and formalise and have a robust peer mentoring system,
Right.
so that we can go outreach
Right.
and go to kind of different places. But again, that's for the future as well.
So it sounds like it's all quite laid back. There's no, obviously you've got a set time and a start time and a finish time, but there's no huge amount of structure. If you're doing something and it takes a wee bit longer, then it takes a wee bit longer, and you don't sit there and take registers and say, well, he's not been here. And
We have a signing in register, but only for, I'm thinking in terms of funders.
yeah,
And even we've been quite slack with that, but we do have, we've tried different things. We would sit one week and then say, okay, what are we doing next week? Okay, we'll do this, right, who's cooking next week, who's doing this? And that worked well enough. But then we worked with a big rota, and we did it weeks in advance.
right, okay,
That worked really quite well.
right.
Um,
So everyone has to take a turn in cooking a meal or providing the food and drink or whatever for
Some
the
people-
night.
It's not cooking a meal, it's just a snack.
Right, okay.
There's no,
can be a snack, it can be a sandwich, it can be a roll.
Aye. But someone has to take responsibility to do
or
that.
2 people.
2 people, right, okay.
Or even someone takes the responsibility and get somebody to help them do it,
Right.
just because it's, and I mean down to things like bringing the milk.
Of course.
No,
It's these things that I never think of, and then I
See,
have a meeting and no milk.
See, but that's all. It's all really important stuff, and that's the kind of thing that, again, because we're not a service or not we are a group,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not one person leading. If it was a service, then a service with somebody would maybe say, oh, I'm fed up. You go there every week and there's no milk, start bringing it along. But what we do, there's no milk when
you got to
Aye, someone
farm
has to
foods.
go.
so we go to farm
Aye.
foods and get it.
Aye, absolutely.
And I mean, it's no. I mean, I could write my diary every Friday. You need to take milk, take milk,
Aye.
take milk, take milk. Wouldn't do anybody any good.
No. And it's about, like you said earlier, being normal, isn't it? So, normal life, someone has to go and get the milk, and it's fair enough to everyone takes turns to do it.
I think I need to steer. So what I noticed there over 2 years ago was I don't have any background in working with people with addictions.
Right.
And what I noticed when I was getting to know folk was everything was held to people.
Right.
It was held to them, given to them, and that I didn't see the benefit in that.
Right.
Maybe to a degree at the start, but then you've got to, and empower is a word that's used too often, but it is true. You do have to try and empower people.
Aye.
Or there's no point. You'll still be handing them, the same stuff 10 years later.
Aye.
And that's something that me kind of, and as I say, the volunteers that came with us are great, are absolutely brilliant, and they have came on. There is a big difference, and
The difference in me is
a huge difference in you, Derek. I didn't like to say that, but no, it's not for me to say. But well, there absolutely is. I mean, Derek's Derek keeps us all right now, don't you? Does. Aye.
Derek's very quiet tonight.
No, at the beginning I was just argumentative all the time.
I wouldn't say he was argumentative, hostile, but I wouldn't say argumentative.
But now I listen and I make my point right enough, but
Yes,
it's not always taken on board. But
That's
Some-
But then that's again normal, isn't it? You
That's
don't always get
normal.
what you want,
Mm-hmm.
no matter how loud you shout or how hostile you are.
aye.
I think you and the others had just were just looking at me and thinking,
What does she care about
who is
addiction?
she? What does she want? Why is she even bothering?
So tell me, what was it? Why did you bother? Why did you care?
My brother was an addict, and he could come off heroin. It seemed to me relatively easily.
Right.
I'm not saying it was, but he could come off and did several times, but he could never stay off.
Right.
And he had to go to Manchester to come off and stay off, and that's what he did. So when I worked with them down there, and I went and visited them and stayed down there with them, I could see what was working, and it was the camaraderie in the group, it was the peer mentoring, it was this what was helping.
Aye.
And I thought, why can we not have that up where we are? It's not as if we've got a shortage of folk that need it.
Aye.
So, and that was a few years ago, and I had always liked to try and do something like that, and then I thought, I'm just going to
Go for it.
Give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
Good deal. It's amazing.
So, and I've learned so much because I say I don't have a background in addiction worker, which I've seen as a drawback to start with,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it might be a positive because I don't have the same.
A different outlook, can you?
Aye, I have a different.
Aye,
I'm
and-
coming at it from a different angle.
And if Patchwork's trying to do things differently, then if you've got a different outlook and you're not set in that rut, and I'm not saying rut's maybe not the right word for it, but setting that pathway, then that can be a good thing as well, surely.
And I mean, it's, and as I say, I'm always learning. I learned loads listening to yous on Friday about different things, and so it's not like, you know, I know this, I know that. I don't know anything. The guys know. That's what I say.
Right.
If somebody comes along,
No, but we don't know everything.
but nobody knows
We've
everything.
been there and done it, but we don't know everything.
Yeah, but surely as a group, do you know that's the whole point of a group, isn't it? That if everyone knows a wee bit, then the collective knowledge is huge in comparison to one person or two people or whatever.
But I always say, if somebody comes along to our group for the first time, now they can come along, they can phone somebody as well, and somebody can meet them before they come in, or they can meet them during the week if they come in. If somebody comes along for the first time and they're unsure, you need to edit this because I forget what I was going to say. What was I going to say? What
About
was I
the
saying?
knowledge. Collective
Aye,
knowledge.
this-
Sure. Well, we don't care what they're letting themselves in for,
Mhm.
really.
But I say, sorry,
We just try and make them
welcome.
as welcome as we can.
But I always say, this is how I see the strength in the group as the guys, as the people in the group. I can bring a different element to it, but the real strength comes for the group, because I can't be that peer mentor. I can't give that advice. I can't be, even if you're saying nothing, that person knows you understand exactly how they feel at that moment. Now I can't provide that, but I can be sympathetic,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
Yeah, but surely the point is that you can facilitate the people to
Yes. Mm-hmm.
point out, and that's what you're doing.
Aye, and look at funding applications
Aye.
and, you know, different things when we've been, you know, when we were looking for premises and stuff. Again, when we found premises, we all went to look at them. That wasn't the first place. We went to look at a few, and I'm not always there. It's not always the guys do a lot themselves without me being there.
Aye.
So I mean, they go to the bank. I just
She trusts me with the group's money.
Well, you've got the keys.
Oh no, absolutely. The money's in safer hands than it is with me, Derek. But no,
Next time you don't put that kettle on.
It's the guys that go to the bank and deal with the money.
But again, normal. That's what, this seems to be the recurring theme. Normal stuff, just normal actions and normal behaviour, for want of a better expression.
For want of a better expression, that's what it is. And I mean, ordinary life is no. That's what I said to you at the start as well. It's cracked up to be either. Don't think it's all going to be roses.
Right, so will we talk about the stigma then of addiction and how Patchwork's working towards stopping the stigma that people find with it? So we stopped just for a second there and we were talking about how people in general in life sort of look at addicts and say, they never change, like you were saying, they never change, they never do this, never do that. But I was saying, I'm addicted to stuff in my house. It's not a harmful addiction, but it is an addiction. You tan a packet of crisps when you order a multi-pack of crisps, that's how I'm this size, But it's not a harmful addiction, so the question I was asking you off here was, I don't understand why people find it so difficult to, how do I word this? I don't understand how people can't see that everyone's addicted to something and it's just your luck whether it's a harmful addiction or whether it's an unharmful addiction. And the stigma that goes around with the likes of addiction is brutal, and that's when you were saying about trying to change the stigma.
We would like to address the stigma in East Ayrshire because it is huge and it does affect people's chances of recovery.
Aye.
It can be a factor in relapse, and that's what we would like to do. But as I say, it needs to be visible recovery.
Yep.
It has to be seen. One of the things Patchwork we spoke about and would like to do, love to do, is get involved more in the community. Let the community see us as we are, see us that we're not alienated, we're not we're not these people that you see falling about the streets. We're now folk that are driving about in cars and we're not that makes you sane, but you know what I mean. It's as I say, people buy ideas with their eyes, and if they can see people in recovery in a different light, I know I certainly did when I saw people in recovery in a different light. That's when I changed, because I was one of the people that you had spoke about, and I thought, they never change and they never do this and they never. And I'm not proud to say I was like that, but I was. And it wasn't until I had went away to Scotland, went to North England, and I saw recovery. I saw it, and since then we've been to Glasgow and. We've been up to Glasgow a few times and we've got supporters up there, so they're very supportive of what we do. And as I say, I don't have an addiction worker background.
But I always think, no one when they're at primary school turns around and the teacher says to them, what do you want to be when you're older? No one says, I want to be a drug addict or I want to be addicted to drink. It's your luck, isn't it? Do you know? No, I've never heard any kid say, do you know what? I really fancy stoating about the streets and everyone pointing at me or everyone saying stuff about me or whatever, So it's...
See, when you're talking about stigma there, a lot of folk just think it's their own fault they chose to do that. Well, possibly you did to begin with, but at the end of it, you just can't stop.
I think see when you're a family member and you have it in your family, I think it's really that, because you see the carnage that's left behind. You see the family, broke up, shattered, maybe kids in care, whatever. Mother all night, all week worrying. You see all this, and all you can do is. It's frustrating because you've maybe had years you're trying to help and nothing helps.
Yeah.
You try to give them everything, you try to take everything away, nothing works. And then I think, and that's when the only person you've got to focus your frustration on is that person. And it's wrong. But you know, if you can see the destruction that it's causing, and you see that that's causing it, and I think a lot of it is ignorance, because I would say it was in my part. It was ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now I know much more now for listening to folk than I did, and I know, you know, and also talking to my brother, who eventually did get clean,
Right.
and asked him what was going through your mind at this time, and he would tell me, and I'd go, what, really? And now, and I just think that, you know, it just breaks my heart what they go through.
Aye.
Just breaks my heart. But I was that person as well, as I say, and to say it wouldn't be true, and I was, but I changed. So if I can change my outlook, then other people can.
Aye. And if people do change their outlook, then it gives people that are addicts surely a fighting chance of making it. Because you were saying earlier that, you know, people maybe are ashamed once they do get clean, and then they become ashamed, and then they don't interact with people, and they keep themselves to themselves, and then that just leads to more problems and mental health problems as well. So that's a big thing as well.
If somebody recovers and they gain employment, which is, it's not that common in East Ayrshire, sadly, but in fact it's very infrequent, but if they do, and they gain employment, and they they're a functioning member of the community, and that's fine. The last thing they want to do is draw attention to themselves and say, actually, I was a heroin addict for 20 years, or I was an alcoholic for 15 years, because they know they will be judged.
Aye. But, you know, just what you've said there, it struck me that, you know, while Patchwork's aimed towards people that have got addictions, that are trying to help themselves and all the rest of it, and they're doing good, it's also based upon making the community better, because the last thing that you want to see when you're walking down the town is groups of people round about the bus station or whatever, you know, the classic, oh, it's full of this, that and the next thing, you know, that's the last thing. And if Patchwork can then help people to get clean and to get better and to get interacting with the community and all the rest of it, then that makes for a better community.
A common thing that I've heard people who are maybe coming to the end of their detox, or the end of their kind of stay in rehab or something, and they'll say, what do I do now? What do I do now?
Aye.
They've been in oblivion for years. What do they do now?
Aye.
So, and that can be a huge, what somebody was saying in Friday night, it's okay saying, okay, I'll be clean today, but you think, my God, I need to be clean for the rest of my life. It can be a huge, overwhelming thought.
So Patchwork acts kind of like a bridge between the addiction services and the big bad world.
A stepping stone.
A stepping stone.
It's just a stepping stone, and it can be, you know, it'll depend how it will evolve. When we don't have a kind of, we know what we vaguely want to do. Well, we know what we want to do. That's not fair. We know what we want to do, but how we're going to get there changes, because we don't have funding. We maybe have to take a path off and say, okay, right, we're still going to do that, but we have to do this just now.
And I take it would change due to the fact that the group want it to change. You know, maybe I take it that it's not been 100% the same people from the start to it is now. You know, it's grown and developed and altered and shifted and all the rest of it. So when Derek came in and was all argumentative on his first day, and he was saying, we're doing it this way and we're doing it that way, then tried that for a while, and then some other people came in and changed the path. Would you say that was fair?
I think.
You've still got your core element that was there at the beginning, but we've had folk come and go and move on.
Right. And I take it that's what you're wanting. I take it you're wanting people to come, be involved for a while, get better, and then realise that they're at the end of the other side of the stepping stone and get back into...
Yes, and that's when we try and link them in with volunteering.
Right, okay.
And again, that might be a step before training.
Right.
Link people in with volunteering, Derek volunteers as well, new volunteers as well. So again, that's something to build confidence, and let, you know, people see. The guys also go out and give talks.
Right, okay.
Which is something that I had, definitely wasn't my idea, because to me, I thought, why dwell on your past? But I know there's strength and power in telling your story.
Yeah.
And when the guys were asked if they wanted to do it, June said yes.
Do you do that, Derek?
I've done it. I've done it once.
Did you enjoy it?
Eventually, aye, but to begin with, I was bricking it.
Aye.
I'd never done it before. I'd never spoke in public before, kind of thing.
Aye.
And I didn't care what I was letting myself in for.
Aye.
But once I went to the group and done it, I was alright.
Right. And did you take something from it? Did you think that was good and I feel better for speaking about it?
And some of the group came to me and asked for advice.
Right, okay.
So I can only give them advice as best of my knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. And like we were saying before, the best thing about advice is you don't need to take it, or you can take parts of it or bits of it, and if people could identify with what you were saying, then that's got to be a positive thing.
We went to, in terms of stigma, we were invited to an event in Glasgow, and it was Stigma to Respect, something like that. We went up there, and our local East Ayrshire ADP paid for a bus for us. So we went up together on the bus, and I was thinking, okay, stigma, right, where can we get the bus from? Get it through one of the most notorious streets in the town.
Right.
So we got it there, and I went into the chemist that's based there and said, here's what we're doing, this is who we are, you know. And I thought, you know, Sam, we could get a wee picture of you waving us off. It makes a difference. It makes a change for the chemist moaning about the person getting in, the person moaning about getting into the chemist.
Aye.
We could do that. So we got a picture. She came out along the road and waved along to us. Just a small thing.
Yep.
But it's things like that.
Yeah. And it's almost fighting back, isn't it? It's almost saying, like, we're not going to be ashamed of this. We're going to sort of stand up and say, look how well we're doing with Patchwork, and look what's bringing us out, or Shell, or whatever.
But you're absolutely right. It's about people leaving us and going away and living their life.
Aye.
And we love it when we'll maybe get a text. People just come along. They don't have to say they're coming along. They just come along on a Friday. But if it's somebody you're maybe expecting, or somebody said they were coming, they'll maybe send you a wee text and they'll say, oh, I can't make it, I'm going out for my dinner tonight, or I can't make it, I've got a wedding. And then you think, yes.
Yep.
That's,
ideal. That's what you're aiming for.
That's them living their life the way it should be. So you don't want, obviously you want your core to continue, but you want people to come and move on. If you get the same people coming years later, you're doing it wrong.
And I take it that people can, come along, do their thing, get to that stage, going to weddings, going to this, that, and the next thing, and they can pop back in 6 months later for a chat and see how everyone's doing, and
absolutely,
all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. If again, and a lot of people do want to do that. She had to go to. She couldn't find what she was looking for. She'd patchwork once a week, but she couldn't find anything else. So she went to North Ayrshire, and she got a lot of help in North Ayrshire, and she's now employed down there.
Oh, ideal.
And she still comes on a Friday.
She still comes every week.
So it's
people will make friends though as well, won't they? Sure, once you get over your aggressive streak, Derek.
Derek's my pal now. But there's times when we've had to have meetings in my living room. Not recently. Being at the YMC is fine. But again, we have to look at what we've got. Okay, we'll not book it tonight. We'll just have it in my living room. So you don't need to pay for that. So
these challenges will bring you together, surely. If everyone's skint and the group's skint, then you're all fighting for that common good and working round problems.
I think people tend to get behind the underdog, and I think that's what's happened because people have been very good to us, haven't they? The group used to go horse riding. Right, okay. We were given horse riding lessons, and then Derek decided to continue that.
All right.
So, but that went on for a while, and that went really well. So it wasn't just riding lessons; it was stable management, everything about taking care of a horse.
Class.
So
I'm terrified of horses, man. I got bitten when I was young. I never got over it.
Well, I could never see me riding a horse till Annie brought it up, we could go to the stables, and then
Aye.
it happened.
I was wondering why you were wearing that Stetson.
In the cowboy boots. Aye. But that's just one. But we're not short of ideas. We're definitely not short of ideas. But it's not even so much the funding. It's the time.
Aye.
It's.
So you were saying about moving into new premises.
Mm-hmm.
Whereabouts is that going to curtail your Friday night? So it's going to be at the new premises rather than at the YMCA?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll probably have everything under the one roof, and we'll have access to those premises 7 days a week, but there's no way we can
Aye.
organise some for 7 days a week. So guys have had different ideas. So we'll have some kind of rota where we can open up, and something, it might be crafts, it might be, I know one of the members had says just come in for a roll and a cup of tea.
Aye.
Again, outreach is something we want to pursue as well, but we also want to be
Sorry, it's my ignorance. Can you explain what outreach is?
like, instead of us sitting on a Friday night or any other night waiting for people to come to us,
Ah,
we
right,
go
okay.
to them. We'll go to
Okay.
the Salvation Army,
Right.
speak to people. We'll go to community friends, speak to people. Now these people might not be ready to come to us because you have to be, not under the influence of absolutely anything
Right.
when you come on a Friday night or
Okay.
any other night. And they may not be at that stage yet, but at least it gives them something to, because some of the members, no one of the girls that comes, she had says, I had mentioned it to her when she wasn't ready,
Mm-hmm.
but when she kind of come on a wee bit, she remembered and she came along.
Aye. So it's
So-
basically just trying to tell people, look, we're here. Once you
Mhm.
get to this stage,
Mm-hmm.
we can be that stepping stone. We can give you a bit of support.
Aye, and we don't want to, but it's got to be a safe space. It can't be somewhere where people who are recovering and maybe struggling in their recovery, and they've maybe
Yeah.
really had a really hard day, a week, and then they come in and maybe somebody's under the influence, either alcohol or drugs, whatever.
Aye.
That's no fair.
No.
It's no fair in them. So we tend not to. We don't have a problem with it because people. We thought we would have a huge problem with it, but people don't tend to come if they are under the influence because there's nothing there for them.
Aye.
They don't want to. They don't want to. They'd rather be doing something else.
Aye.
So
Excellent.
it tends to work quite well. I'd say we're in a transition period just now
Right.
because we will be moving out. We don't have a date for moving in or anything like that. I'd rather no say where that is until we've signed a lease.
Yep. Fair enough.
But it should be
I'll
soon.
when you're away.
It should be soon. But as I say, we're definitely not short of ideas.
Aye. Perfect.
Um,
And even like when you were saying about the crafts and that sort of thing, I've had a wee bit of sort of mental health problems before, and just going out and creating something and doing something positive, it clears your mind. It's amazing how much better you feel once you've done something. If you can walk away and hold something in your hand that you've made or you've
Mhm.
created, that's a
Mhm.
wonderful thing.
Well, Derek's made some great stuff, and the guys on the middle are kind of refurbing 2 benches as well. But because we only have a hall for a period of time, you have to get everything out, put
Yeah.
it back. So we're hoping it should make a big difference.
So you can almost leave the stuff in
Mhm.
situ rather than having to
Mhm.
tidy it away for someone
Plus, there's
else
7
coming in.
different rooms, so there can be
Aye,
an
that
office,
workshop
there
room
can
and
be
a.
a computer in this room.
Aye.
Aye, there can be. So there's loads of potential, but as I say, it's in my case, it's finding the time.
Yeah. Excellent. Right, so finally, we do the quick fire questions. Now, this is my favourite part, and Derek, you're answering every one of these questions. Right, so take it. Do you want to do one about, or do you want to do it in turn? Right, Derek, you're going first. I've made your decision for you. Right, Derek, favourite park in Kilmarnock?
Dean Park.
Dean Park gets a lot of love. Favourite thing about Kilmarnock, apart from myself and Annie?
I don't really what favourite thing about Kilmarnock.
Must be something you like.
Myself. Favourite? Don't know. The Waynes, aye. My granny Waynes.
Perfect. Have you got a favourite place to eat in Kilmarnock?
No, I don't really eat out. I'd rather have fish supper, to be quite honest with you.
Where'd you get your fish supper from?
Only fish shop, usually ferries. Usually
Ferries.
ferries.
Right, okay.
Because they deliver.
A liver and a fish?
Deliver.
Deliver.
Have you lived in Kilmarnock all your life?
No,
No.
I'm only 27 years I'm in Kilmarnock.
I thought you were going to say you were only 27.
I have passed a while ago.
27 years in Kilmarnock still a long time though, isn't it?
Aye. Well, I was used with village life. I came for Christmas.
Ah, right, okay. Where are we? What's the most exciting thing coming up in Kilmarnock? Oh, come on, you've been talking about it just 2 minutes ago.
Patchwork.
Where are you moving?
Where
Well,
are we moving?
Your Patchwork moving's got to be your most
Aye.
exciting, surely.
Aye, it is actually Patchwork moving to new premises, to bigger and better things.
Excellent. And favourite famous person from Kilmarnock? Can't I say me, I'm no famous yet.
I shouldn't really say this, but Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker. There you go. Well, he was a businessman, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Right, so Annie, same questions to you. Favourite
Right.
park in Kilmarnock?
The Dean Park as well.
Dean Park. Favourite thing about Kilmarnock?
That's a hard one.
Me.
No, you don't. Favourite thing about Kilmarnock? Where I stay?
Fair enough. Have you got a favourite place to eat in Kilmarnock?
No, I don't have a favourite place, but I was in, can I say the name of the place?
Yeah, of course.
Maggie's last week,
Right.
and it was brilliant.
Good.
It was great. So that might be my new favourite place. Mm-hmm.
Have you lived in Kilmarnock all your life?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have. Most exciting thing coming up?
Most exciting thing for us is we'll move. We're Kilmarnock for the town. I think there's a few things coming up, but I just kind of here in the periphery. So, yep, moving.
Excellent. And favourite famous person from Kilmarnock?
Don't know any. I don't know any.
We looked up someone else. Was, I don't really know anyone. When we looked him up, and I was going through the Wikipedia list. But what about? I don't know him. What about? Nah, I don't know her. It's no very great famous people. She eventually, I shouldn't say because it'll tell you who it was, but she said Squirrely, the mascot from the football. I was like, that's a belter. I like that answer. Him for mayor.
I can't think. Is Alexander? He was for Dunlop, wasn't he? No.
We'll count it. He went to Kilmarnock Academy,
I went to
didn't he?
Kilmarnock Academy, aye.
Aye, Kilmarnock Academy, the only place, apart from Eton, to have two Nobel Prize winners.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing, isn't it? That's astounding. I was blown away with that. So, where can people get in touch with you guys? Are you on interweb?
We don't have a website, but we do have a Facebook page.
Right,
So if you just look for Patchwork Recovery
right, okay.
on the Facebook page.
Okay, I'll link that in with my
Mm-hmm.
posts and that kind of stuff.
You can find us there. We're looking at getting. We're waiting for 2 and a bit years with no literature, but we're saying we'll wait till we're moved and
Mhm.
we're in, and then we'll get some leaflets.
Great, and people can volunteer with you guys?
Yes, they can, whether they have an addiction background or not.
Okay, and how would you go about that?
Phone one of us.
Right, okay.
Or turn up at the YMCA on a
Aye,
Friday.
turn up and say we've got. We've actually got. There is a lot of. I think this is quite an interesting point. We've got. There's traditionally friction between someone who's an addict and one of the treatment services,
Right,
and well, no, one of them, them all, and but one of them. We've got one of the members of staff who volunteers
right, okay.
with us, and at first I thought, I don't know how that will go down. We'll ask, and again the group were dead open to it. Well, that's what it's all about. We can't say, we want to be included everywhere and not include people here.
Yep.
So that's what they've done, and she's really settled in, hasn't she?
Well, that's getting back to stigma. I'm no want her. She's no.
Aye.
She's no one of us. We're no want her.
Yep.
Aye.
And that's, it's just inverted. It's not very almost then.
Aye.
So that's she has come along. A duck race, that's exciting. What we're going to have.
Oh.
We're going to have
You
a
going
duck
to that
race.
one on Saturday?
Don't think so. No.
I think I'll go there.
We're going to I go down and get some tips. We're going to have a
Take
duck.
some notes.
We're going to have a duck race. Not to raise money, although the ducks will be sold, but it's not really to raise money. It's about raising the profile again
Right.
of recovery.
So I take it the idea is they put it in at the top end of the river and then the first one down the bottom.
Mm-hmm. We did it. We've did a trial.
We've done a
haven't we?
trial.
We did a trial, and I've been in touch with the Dean Park, and they seem to think it's absolutely fine.
Excellent. So you've got some racing ducks in training.
No, I ain't got them yet.
Then they got the racing ducks yet. We got some ducks, but they didn't.
Didn't race.
It's actually very difficult. Ask them where they got their racing ducks on Saturday if you go down. We ordered 100 and they came that size.
That's about, what, an inch and a half?
Mm-hmm. So we went and we kind of found others, and we went and had a wee test with them. So we think we've got our route.
Excellent.
Just got to get the ducks now.
Just got to get the ducks, and we'll sell them for 50 pence or a pound or something. And then
Sound.
last month, maybe a local business, if they could maybe donate a prize.
Aye. Aye. Perfect.
And as I say, it's not about the amount of money we raise. It's about
Just raising the profile.
no, raising the profile of recovery and Patchwork.
Aye. Sound. And if people want to come and use Patchwork, just turn up on a Friday if they want, or get in contact with you guys if they want a wee bit of support to get there on the Friday night.
Mhm.
Is that the best way to do it?
Yep, that's absolutely fine. And we've spoke about should we have a referral form? Should we not have a referral form? And I'm thinking, well, referrals understand referral forms, but then again, I think the beauty of Patchwork is that we're not affiliated with any.
Aye.
It's an open doors policy.
Mhm.
Different as well, isn't it, not to have one?
Mhm.
Excellent.
So, and again, if a referrer has refers on, although they can and they do, if they maybe did it in a kind of formal process, they might want some feedback and that. If somebody's coming to you and you know you're going to be feedback to their prescriber,
Aye.
it might put people off. So we'll not be doing that road just now.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much for taking the time to speak to me, and
Well, thanks for
thanks
coming.
very much.
Thank
Brilliant.
you.
Cheers, guys.